radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
Yes, yes, you are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. 50,000 watts coming at you. We are Mississippi's blowtorch. 50,000 watts. Brother Matt, great job on everything that you did. You know, you've been working on this upgrade to WYB before I was ever a host here on the radio station. I can remember coming back last year and you were talking about it, and it's just wonderful. We're getting comments coming in talking about how we can be heard so much easier now. We're clear, we're crisper, not a lot of crackle. We're getting out there farther, and it's just wonderful. And we are so happy to be broadcasting at 50,000 watts and being able to get the message out there. This is the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYB. If this is your first time getting to hear us on the radio, we're glad that you're tuned in. We are also streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube, and we're streaming at WYAB.com. No excuse not to hear our radio signal now, but if you can't get it because you're like me and you were in Barcelona, but you had to hear Clay, you can go ahead and tune into the stream, whether that be at WYAB.com or any of those other places. You can follow me on X, and I highly recommend that because we are going to be linking a lot of important stuff out there, and it's one way where we can communicate together. If you want to follow me, you can. Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser. And the phone number here, 601-879-0002. The text line is open, and Rick and others are already texting. It's awesome. The text line is 601-879-5060. And the job here at the Andrew Gosser Show is to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are. You know, we're going to be planting some stuff, and some other people are going to be watering it. God's going to give the increase, and we are going to break it down today. As many of you know, today is the 29th of October. It's a Wednesday. And tonight is the Turning Point USA event at Ole Miss. And yours truly will be there. Jacob Lawrence was really kind to make sure that we were able to get access into that. It's going to be a packed house. Some estimates say there could be just a lot of people there. There's going to be a lot of people there. So if you're watching me on the webcam today, you'll see I am sporting a Rush Limbaugh EIB No Boundaries collection tie that my beautiful sweet bee bought me. And I got to tell you, normally I come into the radio studio in a hoodie or a t-shirt, comfortable. But I have to say, sitting here in a suit and tie, don't have the sport jacket on, but it feels pretty good. So I hope to meet many of you tonight up at the Turning Point USA event. Just come up and say hello to me. And if you're not sure how to get in touch with me, you can just text me, 601-879-5060. I want to meet as many people as I can. This is going to be a great event. And, you know, there is divinity in this world. There is providence in this world. There is a method to the madness, and there is order. It is not chaos. And today I was looking at different AI things. Obviously, the monkeys escaping. There's so much to that story that I want to talk about, but today is not the day to do that. Today is a day about Charlie Kirk and what we're going to do in Mississippi, along with Turning Point USA, to get in there and help turn this country around, get it going in the right direction. This is just going to blow your minds, ladies and gentlemen. Younger Americans less concerned about political violence and free speech threats. Associated Propaganda / Associated Press / National Opinion Research Center out of the University of Chicago. That's where this is coming from. This is where it's all stemming from. So think about this. We've just had the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and already the Associated Propaganda and their surrogates are putting out polls saying, oh, younger Americans are less concerned about political violence. They're less concerned about free speech threats. So I'm like, I just don't want to read the ground news feed, although the ground news feed is awesome because you can get 5 or 6 bullet points succinctly linked up to you there, and you can really get the gist of the story. But I also like going to the actual story, because if I see what's going on there, I can go ahead and see how are they BSing us, and how is the data really being portrayed. Ground News says young adults are less worried about political violence than older adults, according to the AP NORC poll. And so I went to the Associated Press article because there it is. And we are going to read a few of these paragraphs, but I've also pulled up the poll. So the AP headline is Younger Americans Less Concerned About Political Violence and Free Speech Threats. But what does the actual poll say? Many concerned about political violence and threats to free speech across the ideological spectrum. So the AP has already completely changed the public's perception of this poll. They pulled their own line out yet, although we'll find out that it's not their own line. But this just goes to show you how the mainstream media manipulates and drives the discussion. We use Harry Enton all the time. We'll use him again today. But it's so important, and unfortunate. It's so important that we go ahead and look at these polls and see what they're actually saying, and not trusting what is being force fed to us either through the mainstream media or AI. We've got to fight that. That is the thing we must overcome. These polls are paid for by the highest bidder, and just like anything else, good morning, Brother Eric. Just like anything else, if you pay enough money, you're going to get that poll to say exactly what they want. So going back to the AP article, first paragraph says, Washington, AP. In the tumultuous political climate marked by this year's assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk in Utah. So first of all, I'm giving props to the Associated Propaganda. Conservative activist. That is a fair representation of what Charlie was and is. I would say Christian conservative activist. I would add that. But far right, possible fascist, all this other nonsense, BS, and flat out lying that not the middle of the roaders or people who don't really pay too close of attention know, but those who really watched and followed Charlie, who didn't like him and accused him of being all sorts of things that he wasn't. They need to be identified and rebuked. Notice I didn't say harmed, attacked, assassinated, hurt, injured, or otherwise made to feel uncomfortable physically. I don't want people living in fear. That's not what the United States of America is all about. But then the AP goes into this. And a Democrat legislator in Minnesota, younger adults are less worried about political violence than older adults, according to a new AP NORC poll. So you can see how in the headline they make it say one thing, and then in the very first paragraph they switch it about. But let's not forget about this Democrat legislator. Remember, the person who killed her, shot her, I think killed her husband as well, and shot another Democrat, had Many, many. They've never come out and said how many flyers, but there's pictures of no Kings flyers all in this dude's car. There were so many no Kings. So this wasn't a conservative who went after those Democrats. That's what I want you to understand. This guy was hired by Tim Walz, and you look at the backstory of that dude, and this isn't a conservative doing that. It's just not. So you go through the AP story, and it talks about, saying how violence is more, or less people are worried about violence the younger they are, and the older they are, the more. And the Associated Press article, quite frankly, does a masterful job of getting you to believe that, yes, Democrats are causing a lot of the political violence, but Republicans are too. And I rebuke that. There aren't conservatives out there doing that nonsense, and I don't want it to. There have been many of us, not just here at WYAB, but other radio stations in Mississippi and outside, who said, "Conservatives, keep your game face on. Do not fall into that trap. Do not sit there and go out and do something stupid that's gonna ruin your life and completely set back the movement." And, I would never speak for Charlie, but if I had to speak for him, the one thing I would feel confidence on is saying, 1, talk about your faith. That's leading the way. And number 2, don't entice violence. He never was that way. He would bring people up who disagreed with him, and he would have those conversations. The left is so petrified of conversations and speech that they are doing things to silence it down. So the AP immediately changes the story. And here's again, it makes you sound, again, read the headline. Younger Americans are less concerned about political speech and free speech. That's the AP headline. And you go down, and the first real thing that they're talking about in the poll is many are highly concerned about political violence. 44% of Americans are extremely political violence is directed at conservative political figures or organizations. 44% believe that's true. Another 32% believe it's somewhat true. So 44 and 32, math in public, that's 76%. 76% of Americans believe conservatives are being somewhat targeted or heavily targeted. Let's talk about political violence directed at liberal political figures. 41% extremely or very likely, and 30% somewhat likely. So math in public, dangerous. 41 plus 30, that's 71. 71% of Americans believe that liberals politicians are in danger of violence. Conservative speech, 67%. Liberal speech, 65%. So here, while they're saying younger Americans aren't concerned about it, an overwhelming majority, if you have 65% support in anything, you immediately rush that bill, you immediately start going down that road, and you start pushing that out. There is so much fear right now. I was reading a guy going back talking about how Kent State, that changed his life. And political violence and fear of the government, that is not good. We are already 20 minutes into the show. We are gonna take our first break, and when we get back, we're gonna get into what the actual poll says, and then we'll compare it to what the AP says, and we'll see how the AP is just full of hot garbage. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
WYAB. and show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
Antique Mall of the South has 14,000 square feet of pristine, clean floor space. Home to beautiful, timeless antique treasures. Antique Mall of the South is open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. Check them out online at antiquemallofthesouth.com or go to the Antique Mall of the South Facebook page. You can also read the dozens of 5-star reviews online. Come see for yourself at Antique Mall of the South in Ridgeland. Now open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. That's Antique Mall of the South, Highway 51 in Ridgeland.
Shopping for eyeglasses shouldn't be scary. Don't get tricked into spending your hard-earned money at those insurance shops only to be ghosted after the sale. I've heard the horror stories. Come to Eye Gear Optical and treat yourself to quality eyewear, sweet pricing, and personable service after the sale. We fit eyeglasses to you, your lifestyle, and your budget. Eye Gear Optical, 2630 Highway 80 East in Pearl. Follow us on Facebook and find us on the web at eyegearoptical.com.
Whether new construction or remodeling, Stephen Arrington and his team at Elite Custom Construction can design and build your dream kitchen and cabinets, inside and outside. Using high-quality products, Elite Custom Construction specializes in cabinetry and intricate millwork. Established in 2011, licensed and insured, Elite Custom Construction is your solution to your next project. Call Stephen at 601-927-0552 or visit them online at elitecustomconstruction.net.
Where do you stand in the pro-life community? If you're passionate about protecting the sanctity of life from fertilization to natural death, please join us at Pro-Life Mississippi as we make a difference and save lives right here in our own state. Pro-Life Mississippi is a community of individuals dedicated to equipping others to value all human life, including the preborn, those with disabilities, and the elderly. Our mission is simple: to provide unwavering support, education, and advocacy for the preborn, their families, and other vulnerable children and adults. If you're just starting your pro-life journey or you have been an advocate of life for many years, Pro-Life Mississippi needs your voice and talents to save lives in Mississippi. Together, we can make a difference in building a stronger pro-life Mississippi. Learn more about us at prolifems.org. That's prolifems.org. Be part of the community that celebrates each and every human life.
It's time to fall into savings at Mazda of Jackson. With ball games, road trips, and all the busyness, don't miss a thing. With 2.9% financing for 36 months on a new 2025 Mazda CX-5. Or get 2.9% financing for 63 months on the 2025 CX-90. 1-year maintenance is included on your new vehicle purchase. And take advantage of the pre-tariff inventory that's almost gone. Shop online at MazdaofJackson.com or visit Mazda of Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road in Jackson.
Hey, this is Ben Ingram from the Braves Radio Network. We're in commercial right now, so I want to let my sister take over and tell you about Hometown Property Group.
Thanks, Ben. This is Mary Claire Putman with Hometown Property Group. Whether you're buying or selling, we are committed to guiding you through your real estate transaction with integrity, exceptional service, and remarkable results. Madison County has been my home for 40 years. I'd love to help make it yours, too.
That's Hometown Property Group. Give them a call at 601-853-6080.
Oh, yeah. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show. I've got some exciting news tomorrow. As many of you know, Bruce Bennett, who owns Eye Gear Optical, great sponsor of the show. Really appreciate him. He's going to be in the studio for the first hour tomorrow to talk about things going on in the world and about Eye Gear Optical. It's going to be great. And I'm really excited to have Bruce in the studio. And for those of you who don't know about Bruce and his business, Eye Gear Optical, here's your chance. Go to www.eyegearoptical.com. They're open from Monday to Friday, 10 to 6, and Saturdays from 10 to 2. Go ahead and give them a check. If you're living anywhere near Pearl, buy local, man, and get a quality set of glasses that's going to last you a long time by a native Mississippian who's going to take care of you. We were talking about the AP and the actual polling center itself and how much they change stuff around. So here you go. The poll headline: many concerned about political violence and threats to free speech across the ideological spectrum. AP, what do they say about it? Younger Americans less concerned about political violence and free speech threats. So we're going to go through this poll here and just talk about basic things. This is a left-leaning poll. Everybody should understand it, but that's okay. People are like, let me try to find a poll that's completely neutral. No, there's no neutral. We all have bias. Every person walking this earth right now has political bias, spiritual bias, physical bias, strength bias. I mean, we're individual human beings created by God. So how we think about stuff is different. So the first big thing here coming from the poll, not the AP, but the actual polling center itself, is half of the public feels free speech is facing a major threat. And this is saying 78% is either a major threat or a minor threat to free speech. 76% say there's a major threat or minor threat to the freedom of the press. I do believe that there's a threat to freedom of the press, but it's not by conservatives or right-wingers. And it can't be any more screwed up than the left already has it. But you know what's really the threat to news? AI. And there's stuff out there. I get sent, and I appreciate so many of you who send me clips on X. Excuse me, got the hiccups. That's not good. But you sit there and you get all these videos that are AI in nature. And you have people who are going down that rabbit hole. Some of these AI clips have 5-6 million views, 20,000 reposts, and then at the bottom of the page you see Sora 2, which is the AI software that created that. That's where the freedom of the press is going to lose it, because AI can just generate 60,000 news articles that look so professional. They can even use likenesses, and next thing you know, it's off and running around the world. The great lie is off and running around the world. It's going to get around the world 20 times before we even know what's going on. 58% either think there's a major threat or a minor threat to the right to vote. Again, I think there's going to be a vote every 4 years, 2 years. Whenever there's an election, there's going to be a vote. But is that vote going to be skewed? Is that vote going to be truthful and honest, or is there going to be manipulation? 58% of Americans think that there's voter manipulation. The right to keep and bear arms. 64% of Americans think that there's either a major threat or a minor threat to keep and bear arms. As we get ready to roll into this EBT apocalypse, if there's any way you do not have to go to a shopping center, go grocery shopping, whatever, I would make that in your plans. I just would. I know this weekend there's all sorts of good stuff going on, and the Sweet Bee and I plan to have a great weekend along with the Sweet Toots. It's going to be fun. But we are not planning to go out shopping or do anything like that. I think we're going to enjoy the sheep and then go off on just a retreat down to the coast and do nothing and just chill out and drool all over the wonderful and Gulf of America. Listen to this. Oh, listen to this. We've got a phone call. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, Brother Andrew. Great show today.
Thank you, Eric.
You said something earlier that really resonated with me on the political violence scene and who's actually committing these violent acts. You see the left, and I hope I can articulate this right. I see an emotional immaturity in that particular sector. If you watch some of these videos, they act out like small children. I see, and I'm not saying that the right is not doing this in very isolated incidents, but I see more of a maturity level, more of a restraint. Most of your conservative side are Second Amendment enthusiasts. If they let those emotions out, you would see a violence that we have never seen in this country.
Yes.
And I think back, I'm 51 years old, and I think back in the 80s when I was young, and I may have had some more leftist ideas. I've only had censorship, Tipper Gore, all that. But I think the older you get, you start realizing some of these ideas don't work. And I think that's life experience that gives you that. And I've always considered myself somewhat of a critical thinker. I don't let people think for me. But I think life has shown me over time, okay, that doesn't work. And this is why. I think the conservative population can think forward more on if I act out on this, these are the consequences it will lead to. And I'm not seeing that on the left. I see this is hurting my feelings right now, and I'm going to act out on it and not really considering the consequences of it.
You're exactly right, Eric. And let's peel back that onion another layer. You brought something out. The left appears to be more emotional. To my opinion, Eric, that is not even debatable. When you look at TikTok, and I know we're not supposed to doom scroll and do all that, but I like to know what my political opponent is thinking, so I will go watch it. And they are completely unhinged. Go back to 2016, and everybody remembers the woman in that reflective gear screaming no as President Trump is being sworn in for no. And I can remember sitting there. I was an elected county supervisor at the time, looking at it, I'm going, the left is done. They're never winning another election. They are because that person just looked so foolish, so immature. I wouldn't want that person in charge of delivering the newspaper on Sunday morning. There's nothing, and that is their base. That is their block. More liberals admit they suffer from mental illness. This isn't Andrew Gosser speaking or Eric speaking. This is science being reported. So
you're absolutely right.
I
would go back to something you said yesterday that I loved.
Yes, sir.
I've held a lot of prestigious titles in my life. The best one I've ever had to this day, and the most important one to this day, is being daddy.
Yep.
And I take that job very serious. I believe it's the breakdown of the nuclear family that has caused this problem we have in America.
Absolutely.
Part of my job as dad, there's different roles that you play in your family. And part of my job was somewhat the disciplinarian in the fact of when my children acted out when they were young, it was my job to calm them down and say, all right, stop, look, listen, look at the way you're acting, and help them to develop that restraint to work through those things. I believe you have a generation, or a couple of generations now, of people that do not have those tools to work through these problems and be a critical thinker for themselves. I believe that's where this starts and ends, is with the family.
You could not be more correct. The nuclear family is truly the nucleus of humanity. You can't do it. You can't have a baby without a father and a mother. You need them both. And by the way, let's just throw this transgender crap right out, because there's no transgender man who's ever going to give birth to a baby. It's just not going to happen. There's no transgender woman who is going to father a child. It's just not going to happen. So get over it and let's start living in the real world. What else you got, brother? We got about a minute before I got to run the break.
I just truly believe, and I'll end it on this thought here. As a father, I can be the greatest father in the world. I will never, ever be a mother. I cannot do what my wife can do. She intuitively knows how to be a mother. and she's great at it.
Yep.
As a father, I don't care how great of a mother you are. You can raise a good man. I will never say a woman can't, but you will never be a father. And without those two, or a father figure and a mother figure in your life, you are stunted in your emotional growth. Great show. I love what you're doing. Big fan. You have a great day.
Brother Eric, thank you so much for the phone call. And we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we're going to follow up on what Brother Eric said as soon as we get done with this break right here on 103.9 WYAB. Yes, we are back on the Andrew Gosser Show, 103.9 WYAB. Phone number, if you want to call in, 601-879-0002. The text line is open, 601-879-5060. Is almost information overload at this point. Messages are coming in quicker than I can get to them. But what is seeming, the main theme that's seeming to come through is that, yes, the left are emotionally unhinged. Republicans, I know they're out there, but I just don't see them in my feed, or maybe it's because I don't look for it as much, but I don't see the craziness on the right that I do the left. But I want to get through this poll. I was hoping to get to what happened in Colorado this segment, but it's just going to be the top of the next hour. It's critical because it plays completely into this poll. The public is concerned about the threat of violence and suppression of speech across the political spectrum. We sort of talked about that, but we didn't talk about it as specifically as I would have thought or would have been expressed. Partisans are more concerned about or concerned with the threats to people who share their ideology than those who are against. So Republicans, wow, 86% are either extremely concerned, very concerned, or somewhat concerned about violence happening to conservative figures. 86%. But listen to this. Independents think that it's 65% possibility that conservatives are going to be, or 65 are either extremely concerned, somewhat concerned, or very concerned that conservative voices are going to be injured. But it even gets crazier. Democrats. Are Democrats concerned about conservatives being damaged or injured? Yes. 81%. 81%. Political directed towards or liberal people. And this is the key number right here out of all of them. 58% of Republicans think that they're concerned about violence against liberals. So that right there lets you know that this country is completely focused on political violence right now. It doesn't matter who thinks what. It doesn't matter that liberals aren't worried about conservatives or conservatives aren't. The truth of the matter is, in this nation right now, conservatives, independents, all believe that political violence is something to be concerned about. Listen to this. Threats to liberals' free speech. Republicans, 46%. Threats to liberal speech from independents, 60%. Threats to liberals' free speech from the Democrat perspective, 87%. And I have a reason for that. And look no further than Portland, Oregon. They believe that protesting ICE at 2:30 in the morning, blowing whistles and just being complete hooligans is free speech, is protest. That is not. When you are sitting there and being a menace to society, you're not peacefully protesting in Portland. Don't even try to go down that road. They are making a muck of the city. And Portland in itself is a joke now because everybody knows it's not what it was 20 years ago, which was beautiful. Meanwhile, you've got, and listen, I'm reading you the poll, right? We are reading the statistics from the poll that says that every demographic, every group believes that political violence is a real problem, that threats to free speech, whether it be liberal political figures, Republican or conservative political figures, conservative free speech, or liberal free speech, you are talking anywhere from 57 to 87% people agree with those statements. So to say that people aren't worried about political violence is foolish. But remember I was talking to you about where did the AP get their headline? Well, here it is. Younger adults are generally less concerned about political violence and threats to ideological speech. 18 to 44, 68% of adults 18 to 44 believe that political violence is directed at conservative political figures or organizations. 68%. 45 and older, 83%. How about political violence directed at liberal political figures and organizations? Adults 18 to 44, you're talking, can't make this up, 69%. 18 to 44, 69% of adults 18 to 44 think that political figures on the left are targets. 45 and older, 75%. 75% are either extremely concerned, very concerned, or somewhat concerned. Threats to conservative free speech, 60%. Threats to liberal free speech, 72%. Liberals are really freaked out, and they should be. But it's not that they're losing their free speech. They're just losing their mandatory echo chamber. You are no longer subjugated to liberalism. You can go out to other platforms. You don't have to go to Blue Sky or MSNBC/MS Now/BS Always. Liberals are going to have a day of reckoning where they just can't simply shout you down, and they have to stand on the data. And the data clearly shows that political violence is a major concern in the United States, regardless of what associated propaganda tries to put out. And there are all sorts of articles here about this. What I'm going to do right now is, if you follow me on X, I'm going to put out this poll, this exact poll, so that, and again, I don't put this is any flowery language with it while I'm on the air. I just post it because I think it's important you see what the poll says and then exactly what the AP says. And then you can do your side-by-side comparison for yourself. And that's the goal that I'm searching for. I'm here to equip the saints. I'm here to equip you so that you guys can all go out and fight these culture battles, not with swings, fists, guns, knives, hockey sticks, whatever. But you can have serious conversation and debate. Eric called in and talking about the maturity level and the emotionalism of the left. It's true. We've got to back them down off the cliff. We cannot afford to have political violence in America, because that's going to be one of the last things that the deep state / one world government, whatever you want to call it, the bureaucracy state, the fourth branch of government, violence is going to be one of the last things they use, because they know that it's very polarizing. It's going to get people emotional. And there's the potential that what they want to happen will not happen because it's just emotional overload. And do not think for a second that humans cannot go to just despicable places and do despicable things. In assassination, public assassination is pretty despicable, but there's a lot worse that can be there. So I've posted those two things on X. I want to continue here with the poll here from the actual polling people themselves. What this says, even though the title says younger adults are generally less concerned about political violence and threats to ideological speech, they're all over 50%. Think about that. Yeah, no, it's not a problem. Over 50% of people think it does. It's a majority, and yet you will have talking point heads on all these stations to go with this headline. I genuinely don't even think people care about what the polls come back with anymore. They just try to find their one little nugget inside a poll, and then they just run for it. And I'm tired of it because I know there's so many good people out there, not on the right or even center right, but on the left and center left, who are being bamboozled. And I know it because I watch people go through the whole process. And people who were once liberal who are now, and those who were once liberal, they become even super staunch conservatives. They're even more to the right than some of my friends who've been there their entire lives. You know, those are the ones that are really coming out and saying that the left is off its hinges. They've lost their marbles. And when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the polls, and then we're going to tease about the second hour. But you're not going to want to miss it. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show on the 50,000 watt blowtorch of Mississippi, WYAB 103.9. We are large and in charge. We're bringing it. You know, there's so much to talk about this polling and stuff, but every once in a while a comment sneaks in and it just kind of diverts my attention. And, we are approaching the EBT apocalypse. We've got two-gun tactical. We've got the new range, high power range. We have all sorts of people who support the Second Amendment who advertise on this station. And what I'm saying is I'm making a trip to two-gun tactical to get me some extra ammo. I am. Not that I'm planning to use it, but I'd rather have it than not. But what's really even more interesting to me is we've gotten so far away from our American culture and heritage that we don't farm anymore like we used to. We don't have family gardens anymore. We can just go to the Krogers, the Walmarts, the Costcos, and just go buy what we want. I'm telling you this, I bet you next year there will be many more gardens planted. They might not grow that much, and that's okay. Maybe we start the garden club where we get people to go out there and just plant stuff so that they don't have to be so dependent on the government, that they don't have to be so dependent on the grocery store. I know this sounds very corny, hick, whatever, but people who know how to grow food and can food, you are in a very good place, my friend, because there aren't too many people out there who can. And the truth of the matter is if you are planning a garden next year, you should be planning for it right now. Baker Heirloom Seeds, ordering up all your seeds for next year, getting it all ready to go. I mean, the beautiful thing about this country is you can become an expert on whatever it is you want to become an expert on real quick. You'll still need the experience, but you'll have the information. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9. And when we get back, we're going to talk about the Turning Point USA campus leader who was attacked by an Antifa thug in Boulder, Colorado. We'll be right back. Thug in Boulder, Colorado. We'll be right back.
This is Central Mississippi's Stimulating Talk.
1039 WYAB, Pocahontas, Jackson.
Is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Steve Kathan. A major cleanup effort's getting underway in Jamaica after the blast from Hurricane Melissa. CBS's Jason Allen is in Kingston.
There was intense rain. There was flash flooding. It's destroyed parts of the island. And officials have been telling us there are entire communities on the island's southwest end that are underwater. We're really just beginning to see some videos emerge of all the damage there. There are many homes that have been turned into piles of rubble. Other buildings still standing are completely flooded.
River flooding triggered by rain from the hurricane is blamed for at least 25 deaths in Haiti. And there's news today about our climate.
I'm Vicki Barker in London. A major study on the health impact of global warming links toxic air pollution, wildfires, and the spread of such once rare diseases as dengue fever to a failure to tackle global heat, resulting, the researchers say, in a death toll that's now reached an average of one person a minute around the world.
It's day 29 of the government shutdown and a familiar refrain of blame delivered by House Speaker Mike Johnson.
This is not the Republicans. This fall is squarely on the shoulders of the Democrats, and they're the ones causing you the pain, and don't ever let them forget it. Thank you.
The White House has fired all 6 members of the federal agency that was expected to review some of President Trump's construction projects, including the big ballroom. CBS's Natalie Brand.
From what we've gathered, all the members who had been recently fired were appointed during the Biden administration. We do have a statement from the White House on the firing saying, in part, we are preparing to appoint a new slate of members to the commission that are more aligned with President Trump's, quote, America First policies.
Overseas, Russia says it's conducted a successful test of a new atomic-powered and nuclear-capable underwater drone, boasting the weapon cannot be intercepted. Comes just days after a test of a new nuclear-powered cruise missile. CBS's Jim Crisula now on One Choice for Word of the Year.
You might be tired of hearing. Now, dictionary.com has chosen 6-7 as its 2025 Word of the Year. It's an ambiguous slang term made popular by Gen Alpha on social media and in schools and in friends groups across the country. It's become so pervasive and perhaps bothersome that some schools are now banning it.
The AI chip maker NVIDIA became the world's first $5 trillion company today. And on Wall Street, the Dow is up 215 points. The S&P is up 10. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Not only does Progressive let you bundle your insurance, they also give you round-the-clock protection. Quote today at Progressive.com.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something.
News this hour is brought to you by the Rusty Healy Agency in Madison. Call Landon Thompson at 601-856-3681 to request a quote or learn more.
Mississippi monkey trouble, but not anymore. A cold front has come through, and you'll feel the difference today with a high at 55 and a 30% chance for rain. Tonight, the low is 45 with a 30% chance for rain. Thursday, it's mostly sunny and 60. You've got news on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis. Whether the 6 rhesus monkeys had communicable diseases or not was rendered a moot point Tuesday when most of them were put down by law enforcement. The truck carrying the primates for testing in Florida wrecked on I-59 in Jasper County, spilling the 6, which were described as aggressive and possibly carrying COVID, hepatitis, and herpes. Tulane, the entity responsible for the monkeys, later said they were not infectious. 22-year-old Linnell Brown Jr. of Jackson has been locked up after more than 3 months' work by JPD detectives. They say he shot a repo man who was trying to repossess a car back in July on TV Road. Brown is charged with aggravated assault and being a convicted felon with a gun. Also arrested, 43-year-old Walter Ainsworth, who police in Rankin County believe was the man who shot into a car Sunday night at Spillway Road in Old Fannin near the Res. Cops say that was road rage, and the woman was hurt by shattered glass as a bullet ripped into her car. Ainsworth was popped by Reservoir PD as he enjoyed dinner at a restaurant Monday. It seems like a no-brainer to most people. Fix the leak that's spilling 120,000 gallons.
Hey, we're in a commercial.
Hello?
We're on a commercial break. We'll just hang on.
To get it done. Mayor John Horn says that leak at the zoo was costing the city about $1 million a year and was a $7,400 fix. WYAB now broadcasting at 50,000 watts. Clearer and further than before. Enjoy. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
Yes, you are tuned in to the Andrew Gosser Show right now on 103.9 WYAB, now at 50,000 watts. We are the blowtorch of Mississippi Talk Radio. We are WYAB 103.9. And this is the Andrew Gosser Show. It is Wednesday, the 29th of October, 2025. And we are streaming on Rumble with our 50,000 watts. We are streaming on X with our 50,000 watts. We are streaming on YouTube with our 50,000 watts going out the radio tower. We're even streaming at WYAB.com, even though we've got the 50,000 watts. No reason not to hear us anymore. If you can't pick up the radio signal for whatever reason, that's all right. Just tune into one of the streams. We'd appreciate it. Look, if you want to be a part of the program today, the number is 601-879-0002. The text line, I'm telling you what, you guys are absolutely incredible. For a one-man show here, trying to keep up with all the texts is ridiculous, but I appreciate it. Number 601-879-5060. And my job here today with all of you is to equip the saints, get you the information and knowledge you need to know so that you can go out there and have meaningful debates with people. Change people's minds, change people's hearts. Talk about it all the time. General answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word incites anger. I don't need to be harsh and hateful and angry. I can speak sweetly and make it happen that way. I know I got a caller on. They're just going to have to wait because this has to be talked about. We just spent the last hour talking about how the mainstream media doesn't want you to think that political violence isn't a real thing and not a real threat. And there's all sorts of stories out there now talking about it. This is coming from the Post-Millennial. Turning Point USA student leader attacked near UC Boulder campus after Antifa puts out hit list flyer. Man, Antifa, a known terrorist organization, is putting out hit lists on Turning Point USA members. The Colorado Antifa groups put out a hit list flyer on the college student, which accused the sophomore of being an active member of a neo-Nazi organization. I'm sorry, but, sticks and stones may make my bones. Words will never hurt me. I get that. But at some time, there is this thing called inciting violence, and these people need to be held to account. And maybe that's where the left is worried about their freedom of speech. It's not really a freedom of speech. It's a freedom to incite violence. Police in Boulder, Colorado are searching for a suspect accused of attacking a 19-year-old Turning Point USA's student leader near the University of Colorado, Boulder, on Thursday evening. The attacker is suspected to be an Antifa member. This guy was we got to say this about Antifa. Their battle uniforms are truly inspirational with no tactical advantage. No tactical advantage. They've got masks and stuff on. I mean, they look menacing. It looks like a post-apocalyptic type of scenario. But the truth of the matter is, these people are nothing more than live-action role-playing with real-life weapons. They're hurting people. They're killing people. And the rest of the world is not yet really woken up to what these idiots are doing. Boulder police have released additional higher quality photos of the person of interest. And if you go to my X account at Andrew Gosser, ANDWGASSER, you will see I have posted pictures of this future rocket scientist, engineer. No, he's on rollerblades. He can't be an astronaut. But what's interesting to me is this guy is rollerblading with a hockey stick. And he attacked the Turning Point USA leader with this hockey stick on rollerblades. He's got a type of boonie hat on. It looks like he's got a black hoodie on, of course, and a blue shirt over it. But what is really, I'm not going to say baffling. It's just, you could tell that these people are completely mentally unhinged and just walking down a different road. He has got a discernible object with him that will make him stand out no matter where he goes. He is holding one of those green Gatorade bottles with the orange cap on it, so you can easily tell what's going on there. You can easily see that. And they've got multiple pictures of this, and this dude's even got it in his pocket, in his back pocket as he's skating away. I'm just looking at it now. He looks like he's winded. And he's got a towel hanging out his back. And the towel is coordinated with the T-shirt that he's wearing over. He definitely is a fan of turquoise. I get it. But the bottom line is that while the AP, the mainstream media, and everybody else tells us that violence isn't a concern, we're having political violence. It's horrible. Police said it appears, based on preliminary information, that the suspect may have followed the victim from the university's campus onto Baseline Road before attack. So this just goes to show you that they're stalking. They're gathering intelligence. Dare I say they're trying to be militant. Antifa is no joke. I don't necessarily agree with how they dress up and stuff, but they are a violent group. This is a quote coming from the press release from the police department. In the interest of transparency, detectives are also confirming that they are aware that the victim was subject to some social media post and a digital flyer circulated by others prior to last night's incident. Whether these played a role in the reported assault is a part of this investigation, and police are not commenting any further on this finding. That's okay. The police can say that, and it's almost good that they say that. But who are you? Oh, I almost cussed. Who are you BSing? You're telling me with Generation Z and Generation Alpha, the most technologically inclined generation of humans ever, that they can't share these flyers and disseminate this information in ways that weren't even imaginable 20 years ago? It's almost like they're trying to give this guy a get out of jail card before they even capture him. It's terrible. And again, this is stuff that what we're talking right here on the Andrew Goss Show, this isn't stuff that's talked at other places, not in the same context. I purposely try not to cover the same things that other hosts on this station do. Now, we do have the overlap. Clay and I are, I mean, dude, we've got a groove going. You know, this whole EBT fiasco that's about to go down, whether we talk about the rock culture, you know, we talk about different things, and that's what makes everything so fresh and makes you want to enjoy WYAB. So please let people know about us and share the word. So we've heard in the past, and I should have pulled up this note or this video, and I didn't, but it's a bunch of Democrat politicians saying that Antifa isn't even a real group. It's not even a real thing. This is coming from Andy No, Mr. Andy No on X. Colorado Antifa groups, Front Range Antifa and Colorado Springs Antifa, put out a hit list on a 19-year-old Turning Point USA leader at the University of Colorado Boulder, shortly before he was beaten by someone with a hockey stick near the campus. Antifa put their logos on the hit list. So I'm going to actually go to this X post, and I'm going to retweet it or re-exit or whatever we want to call it. But, you know, for somebody that doesn't exist, they've got their own logos. They've got their own social media groups. Further in the X post, Antifa accused the teen of being a member of various Nazi groups. The flyer was shared across social media by leftists, including the Communist Boulder Group, Students for Democratic Society. Convicted communist terrorist Bill Ayers was a member of this group. man, if you think about it, they have built an infrastructure based loosely around social media for communication purposes. I'm sure they have Discord and WhatsApp and Signal, Telegram, all those other ones so that they can communicate outside of normal traditional channels. By the way, people who continue to tell me that Signal is an encrypted, trusted source and the government can't get into it, no, that's not true. No, just don't agree with that. Just walk away from that. Getting back to the post-millennial, the Colorado Antifa groups. Oh wait, I read that one. I'm sorry. The Boulder Students for a Democratic Society shared the flyer, and police have released additional photos of this dude skating down the parkway at night. You can see the headlights of the cars on with this green water bottle in his back pocket. It just doesn't make any sense, and I can hear my Leo saying, "Just let it go, just let it go." I'm not going to try to publicize it, but dude, the Gatorade bottle. I mean, the press talks about it, so it's not that big of a deal. Hold on one second here. He was skating with a hockey stick. The suspect fled the scene after the victim called 911, and Boulder police and Colorado University police officers searched the area but did not find him. Nope, he got out of there. What's that say about culture on campuses, college campuses? People have heard me talk about it before, the college experience. Someone's got to actually fully define what the college experience is. The closer and closer my daughter gets ready to go to college, the more and more I don't want her to go. Not because I'm afraid she's going to get hurt or anything. I don't want her to be indoctrinated into some BS. I really appreciate my daughter. She can independently think when she wants to. She has responsibility when she wants to. She is a perfect 17-year-old girl. Just like all of us, 17, we could do anything we wanted if we wanted to. But we had our habits. So, on the one hand, you've got the mainstream media coming out with this poll saying, nah, political violence isn't a big deal. And not even 24 hours later, you've got the student leader for Turning Point USA on a major U.S. college campus being attacked. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot make this up. It's even more striking to me, and it's just kind of like God point me where to go. Today, Turning Point USA is going to Ole Miss. I'll be there for it. Wouldn't miss it for the world. And we have a Turning Point leader, not necessarily Mississippi, but in this nation, attacked by a hockey stick wielding thug on rollerblades claiming allegiance to Antifa. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We are back. Man, I hope that kid in Colorado is okay. I've been slashed with a hockey stick in floor hockey, not being attacked, just kid acting wild. And that hurts, man. I couldn't imagine what's going on. What it'd be like to just be sitting there walking down the street and someone come up on you with rollerblades and a hockey stick, just trying to beat the snot out of you. Not cool. We talked about the poll and political violence, but we've got to talk about our favorite pollster, Harry Enton, because for a while he's been saying some negative stuff. And we report that because we want to get both sides of the aisle. I want to make sure that you, my listening audience, thank you so much for listening to me, you have the full spectrum so that you can make a clear and pointed view. But at some point, just like the AP came out and used a very selective comment to push their narrative, at some point the truth has to come out, whether it's someone like you or I going through the poll and then letting everybody know what's going on, or they just come out and say it. And here we've got Mr. Harry Enton giving a video that he probably, I don't know if he's a liberal or conservative, doesn't matter, but this is definitely not his norm. 3, 2, 1, here we go.
Starting with Republicans, how is the shutdown seem to have affected their political standing?
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit. Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points.
Absolutely never be reported on CBS, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, MS Now / BS Always, CNN, and whoever the heck else you want to put in there. With the exception of Harry Enton, it's the only reason I even heard about this. And the truth of the matter is there is no way that a Democrat can blame the Republicans for the shutdown. Every Republican voted to open up the government. But then how come it didn't open up? This is just a beautifully illustrated example of how our education system has failed the American people and the voter electorate. Because anybody who went to civics class back in the day would understand what the filibuster is. And the truth of the matter is many of you on the left are looking at this saying, this isn't right. This isn't fair. You want EBT turned on, and you can see it's a clean CR that the Republicans have pushed forward. So they're not even trying to give a couple $1 billion to the military industrial complex or big pharmaceutical, big chemical, big propaganda news. No, there's just fund it like we fund it. And what this tells me is that even those people who are left of center, who are intellectually honest, understand that this is a Democrat-controlled shutdown. Let's continue.
Since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give, and electorally speaking, when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
Now, we say their position is getting better. With whom?
Yeah, okay, with whom? So I think it's two groups that it's so important to keep an eye out on. All right, changing the Republican Congress's net approval rating versus pre-shutdown. It's rallying the base for sure. Look at this, the net approval rating up 12 points versus pre-shutdown. But it's not just with the base. It's also with the middle of the electorate. Look at this, among independents. It's up 8 points as well.
And that is what the crazy liberals and Democrats do not want to have happen is they do not want to have the independents who, and look, this is no fault of the independents. They're living their lives, man. And what is important to Andrew Gosser might not be important to you. But the bottom line is that once something does become important to you, you usually go out and do a bunch of research. And when that happens, people are finding out that the Democrats are just full of hot garbage on this. Hot garbage. Do I want EBT to be turned back on? For the legal Americans, citizens, I do not want the EBT turned on for the roughly 20 million illegal aliens here that are getting SNAP, EBT, whatever you want to call it. My opinion.
So we've got a situation here where Republicans with the shutdown are actually rallying their base, but it's also something that's not hurting them with the folks in the middle. If anything, it's helping them with folks in the middle. And this is the type of math that if you're Republicans, you like to see, right? Because something could rally the base, but alienate those in the middle, or something could rally those in the middle, but alienate the base. But the truth is, we're not seeing that. What we're seeing is the Republican brand has actually gotten better among independents, and it's also gotten better among Republicans as well, that Republican brand when it comes to those in Congress. So again, what's the...
You want to make the GOP and the Republican brand better? Oh, this is great. This is the first time I'm going to do this on the 50,000 watt blowtorch that is WYAB. You want to make the Mississippi GOP better? Become a precinct delegate. Andy, I've never heard of that before. We'll get there, but long story short, is you just represent the people on your block to the local GOP. And I promise you this, you want to make the GOP stronger, you want to make them fight against illegal immigration harder, you want to make them become more friendly to businesses here in Mississippi. You don't have to be a state rep or a county supervisor or election commissioner. You can use the party, but it does take a little bit of time. Luckily for you, your election is until 2028. So you have time right now to start plotting out the process. What I would do if I were you is I would go figure out what precinct you live in and get a map of your precinct and write down every one of your friends in your precinct who likes you and is like-minded. And just start meeting and start talking about this. Perhaps you already are. But man, that would be great. Let's finish this one up.
The electoral reason that Republicans would give in at this point.
And Democrats, of course, they have their eyes on the midterm elections. Yeah, we have elections 1 week from today, but what Democrats in Congress are mostly focused on are 1 year and 1 week from today from the midterm. So how do Democrats, how are they positioned right now?
Yeah, so I mean, look, the generic congressional ballot, which traditionally Democrats have done really well on. And if you look at this point back when Trump was president the first time around, Democrats are up 11 points. Look at where it is now. Democrats are ahead, but they're actually only up 3 points. This is, in fact, the worst position Democrats have been on in a generic ballot at this point in midterm when there was a Republican president in the last 20 years. And this is no different from pre-shutdown. So Republicans aren't losing on this metric either. They become more popular, and they're actually in a pretty good position for them to...
I cannot tell you. That might be the most critical number in this whole poll, is that for the opposition party of the president, whether they're in power or out of power in the House or Senate, they are normally up somewhere between 9 and 12 points. In 2017, it was 11. Now they're only up 3. Well, Andy, they're up not where they should be. Not where they should be. This is absolutely devastating news. I got this from CJ Pearson, by the way, who ripped this and sent it to me. So I'm grateful for that. And I will certainly retweet this and go ahead and share this on X so that you can go ahead and watch it and pull it out, or pull out the data yourself. Let's finish up the quick video here.
Historically, when it comes to the generic congressional ballot.
This is a concerning number for Democrats, are you saying?
This is a concerning number for Democrats because it's considerably worse than they traditionally do in midterm elections when there's a Republican president.
Harriet, thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend.
Great video. From a conservative perspective and from a numbers perspective of explaining what the numbers actually mean. Thanks, Brother Shane. I appreciate it. That's what the numbers actually mean. Republicans, I mean, for everything that is being reported, whether it be on the mainstream media, social media, or otherwise, door knocking, the GOP is in a good spot. And when you've got people who are clearly speaking to the people, whether that, and I know this is going to sound crazy, Mike Johnson doing a good job as Speaker of the House in this instance. When you've got someone like him speaking, and then you juxtapose him against Zoran Mandami, you're looking pretty good. When you're building the future of the GOP and you're using people like J.D. Vance, when you're using people like Marco Rubio, I can't believe I'm saying that. Did you hear me stutter when I said Marco Rubio? Man, he's killing it as Secretary of State. Killing it as Secretary of State. Future looks bright, but we got to make it brighter. And that's where Turning Point USA comes in. And I hope everybody gets a chance. If you're in Mississippi tonight and get the chance to go to that event, you definitely should. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. Oh, yeah. It is the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. During the break, I always try to check and see what's going on, if there's anything really breaking that I want to talk about. And what's trending across the United States? What's trending? Mountain Dew. And how people are complaining they're not going to be able to buy their Mountain Dew with their EBT. And I'm sitting here thinking, EBT, I'm buying vegetables and proteins to feed my kids, and we can drink water. And there was a point in my life where I couldn't afford Crystal Light or fizzy drinks. I had to drink water, and we had to drink it from the tap. Now we have EBT, and we're finding all sorts of things that people can buy with their EBT card. But Brother Rick, dropping knowledge, dropping fire, sent me this, and I think it's a good idea. If you want to make the EBT program more efficient and effective, do these things. Number 1, require an ID when used. Prevents people from selling them for cash. I agree with that. I don't have EBT, so I'm not completely sure how the system works. I have to be truthful upfront about that. But, it only makes sense that you have an EBT number that you can go ahead and you can use it. Only you use that number. You can't send your kid in to go do. No, it's you. Number 2, require monthly drug tests. I agree with that, Brother Rick, but that's going to be expensive. I do agree with the other side of it, though. It makes you more employable. That's true. If you're not on the sauce, you might be more willing to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You won't be drugged out, zoned out. It only goes to U.S. citizens. Facts. Anybody who's here illegally, auto cutoff. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. And we will make sure that you get back to your home country safely. We'll put $2,000 in your pocket if you help us out, and you can continue on your way, and you have the opportunity to become an American citizen in the future. They're talking EBTs like $250 million a month, something like that. And my whole thing is imagine if we just took that number and halved it because we weren't spending all that money on illegal aliens. We'd be help fighting our debt. So I'm all for it. But when you drug test somebody, there is a cost with that. And of course, because it's with the government, it's going to be inflated times 6. You do not receive more money per child. It's a flat rate. Well, how about that? Man, can you hear South Jackson moaning about that right now? Brother Clay this morning talking about a woman who has 6 kids. 3 of the baby daddies have been deported. Where are the other ones? Don't know. But it's just this, and these are things that are common sense. I don't even believe anything that I'm saying is well, not that I'm saying, it's that Rick brought up, and I'm just repeating it to the audience. I mean, this is not unreasonable. Not unreasonable. In fact, I bet you if you went to China, Russia, or any of these other countries, their illegal aliens wouldn't be getting no EBT. Sorry for slang there, but it's the truth. People are kind of shocked that Mountain Dew can actually be purchased. Yeah, all the sugary drinks, Snickers bars. And Eric, this is where I kind of struggle. But maybe I just have to wall it off. But I like getting my kids ice cream. Should ice cream be on EBT? Fruit snacks? Fruit, certainly. But I mean, we could have a whole show, 2-hour show, what should be on EBT and what shouldn't. But definitely, that flat rate, I really do like that. If you are available for further assistance, both parents must have the same home residence. And I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that. If you've got a spouse who's beating the heck out of the other spouse or whooping up on a child, or, mom passed away and it's a single dad raising two girls. I know that happened. And we don't wish that on anybody, but things like that happen. So there's got to be, certain guardrails in place. But I definitely think we can tighten up the belt on EBT. And we should. We absolutely should. Story that's going around right now, NVIDIA, the first $5 trillion company. And I know so many people are starting to get sick of AI and AI this and AI that, but it's coming. And I'm telling you, if you are not using AI, you've lost the battle. And this AI, the more and more we build it, it's just going to get exponentially even more powerful. It's true. It's going to be able to outthink humans here shortly. Oh, I got to read this. I'm going down the AI track, but Miss Dee Dee just sent me this message. You're making me blush, Dee Dee. Andrew, I just wanted to compliment you on how handsome you look today. French cuff too? Yep, absolutely. You are totally GQ. I know you're excited about the Turning Point USA event this evening. Safe trip, have fun. Absolutely, we plan to have fun, and we will have a full report tomorrow. It's so much easier in life, Dee Dee, to be kind and sweet than it is to be difficult. I mean, just giving somebody a simple compliment, man, you made my day. Thank you. Getting back to the EBT stuff. The thing about EBT is it started off with good intentions. Oh, I'm replaying the radio of yesteryear. If you know, you know. The soft bigotry of good intentions. We have created a complete class that is totally dependent upon the government for their existence. And that, my friends, is not good. Not good. And it's going to hurt. But we have to break this cycle that we're in. We're going to rip off the Band-Aid. It's going to stink. Brother Eric chiming in. I remember as a small child standing in line with my grandparents to get a box of commodities and government cheese. No chips, no candy, no soda. I think that's fair. I mean, we have a weight problem in this country as it is. We've got a food problem. That's why America's so fat. All this processed food. And even if you eat clean at home, but you go out for a Chick-fil-A, man, you've just screwed up your metabolism for 3 days. 3 days. In other AI news, besides NVIDIA breaking $5 trillion market cap, Character.ai to block romantic AI chats for minors a year after teen suicide. People, I'm telling you, people are going to continue to get locked into these anxiety devices, and they're just going to go here for everything. They're not going to want to pay attention to what's happening to them in the real world. All they want is their chatbot boyfriend or girlfriend to message them and tell them how nice they are. On Wednesday, Character.ai will remove the under 18 users' ability to engage open-ended chats, phasing out access by November 25th, 2025. Should we have open-ended chats with people above 18? Suicide is suicide. Real is real. Fake is fake. That AI is not going to be able to do what humans want that AI to do. We'll keep it rated G, people. Investigations uncovered avatars impersonating British teenagers in 2024, and the Bestie Epstein chatbot logging more than 3,000 chats later removed by character AI. This just goes to show you, ladies and gentlemen, that the human mind is a depraved thing. And it can do enormous amounts of good, wonderful amounts of good. But don't think for one second that humanity won't find a way to try to screw it up. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be back with our final segment of the program. Hang tight, everybody. Oh, yeah. It's the last segment of the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. And I have to say, the show just screams. It screams by because we do the show prep. We have interactive phone callers. And to the caller who called in at the top of the hour, and I didn't get to you, I'm sorry. I know you couldn't hang on. But it's just one of those things where the interaction with this show and this audience is so incredible. And I just will never have enough time on the radio to compliment you all and say thank you for making the show what it is. I was talking to Matt during the commercial break as we're getting ready to wrap up the show here, and they have actually been trying to up the wattage on WYAB since 2003 in some form or fashion. And, you know, I get behind this microphone. It's awesome. I don't work with the FCC to make sure everything is all aligned. That's what Matt does. And, you know, it's really a testament to him and his work ethic and his tenaciousness to get WYB to where it is. And now we've got heavy hitters like Kim Wade and Clay Edwards, Chip Matthews, Sean and Lindsay. I mean, we are in hot pursuit of Mississippi Talk Radio, and we're going to make that happen. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are going to the Turning Point USA event tonight and you feel like meeting and hanging out and doing something, feel free to text me, 601-879-5060. I'd love to meet as many Turning Point people as we can, especially if you're from Central Mississippi, this neck of the woods. I'd love to make friends like that. And it's events like these where we can go to and grow and network and realize that we are the majority. We're not the minority that the mainstream media would have you believe. And it's just going to take time, effort, and dedication. Much like the man we're going to go honor tonight, he was dedicated. He was tenacious. He didn't give up. He was murdered and martyred for his beliefs. And we're going to go celebrate Charlie tonight. And if you're up there, look me up. Take care, everybody. We'll be back in 22 hours. Be blessed.